We're live. There's no starting over in 5D.
Apparently, there's an update. That's why. All my hard work. Damn it.
Don't think of it like hard work wasted. Just use this one in a couple weeks. We'll all have forgotten this happened, and it'll seem like you did a ton of work and you didn't.
I mean, well,
No,
we'll not forget this happened, but we will give him shit for it later. I'm just saying.
Oh, that's okay. It's all right. Manual control.
That's all right.
Son of a bitch.
Done.
All right. Hey, welcome to another episode of 5D Podcast, where we...
All my hard fucking work gone. That's what it is.
Klops is a failure.
He should have done it better. Let me take the role of your parent. I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed.
It's all right.
No, it's all right. Once I give the thumbs up, we are live on YouTube, and there is no going back.
Just restart all of YouTube.
Yeah, just
start it all over.
Right.
Guys.
We're good.
Oh,
if I
well, I
could
stopped
turn
my recording.
back time.
You what?
I stopped my recording, so I'm starting it now.
7 p.m. is the time code. Here we go.
Yeah.
All right. So let's just jump into it, guys, because this is a great start. We all actually did something great and got to, well, not together because I hate you people. We did something together but separate. We actually saw the same goddamn movie and can all talk about it. You know how rare this is?
Very.
And the movie was Shazam.
Shazam!
All right. I'll just say I liked it.
Yeah, it was fun.
It was super fun. You know what? I can honestly say that it surprised me, and it shouldn't have, because it was kind of formulaic. It felt like a kid's superhero movie, but I'm so used to them shitting the bed that normalcy surprised me.
I guess I could say something similar. I felt like they were really trying to follow in the footsteps of Marvel with this one. With a lot of their like cinematography and like their kind of like joke timing and stuff that they tried to do, which I don't blame them. It's been a winning formula for them. Why wouldn't they try it, right? You know, but it did feel like some of the jokes were slightly off for me. Like it was like a kind of like comedic pause, like that's supposed to be a joke. You know how like Marvel does that in some of their jokes. And it was just like, okay, that's funny.
No. See, I have to disagree in the sense where, like, to me, it felt a lot more like comedy for kids, like Jingle All the Way or like Jumanji, like those kinds of jokes.
Arnold Schwarzenegger's smash hit Jingle All the Way.
Right, that kind of comedy, less the Marvel. It was less ironic comedy that Marvel really likes to play to. And I felt that this was actually more campy at times.
Yeah, I mean, it has that. I'm just saying that it seemed like they were following that a lot. Like, I just got that feeling when I was like watching it. Like, this is almost.
I mean, I guess now anybody throws comedy is going to be like Marvel in a superhero movie now, because they kind of did it first.
Yeah, and they have this like kind of formula for it, right? You know what I mean? I'm not saying it was bad by any means. I enjoyed the movie. I'm just saying that it did feel like that, and they're gonna do something like that as they work out their own process and stuff for it, right? You know what I mean? It's just.
And mind you, this is probably because I have very little knowledge of the source material. The best that I know, like, I've read some specific Shazam runs, but it was in major events. Like, I think it was Kingdom Come where I read it, the Shazam like arc for that. So yeah. I don't know the source material. So I was instead there going, "Oh, that's not how it's supposed to go."
I never did either. I remember from my end, like my influence of Shazam was from like the Justice League cartoon.
Yeah,
like that was it. That was my only influence. And I felt they lived up to that pretty good. And even my dad was like, from what I remember from the source material, it seemed pretty legit. I don't know how much he actually fucking knows or not. Like, I take that with a grain of salt.
I'll throw my hat in that same ring. Like, I'm loosely familiar with Shazam. Like, I've never read Shazam runs, but I've read enough DC to have run into Shazam a lot. I've watched a lot of the shows and the cartoons. They've at least hit the broad strokes of Shazam. I don't
Okay.
know if the nitty gritty details are all exact. I don't know, but I can say, yeah, like the general idea of everything as far as I remember it. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
that's about that.
I also liked the villain in this one. I also liked their whole dynamic at the end and what they did with that, and like that story element. So
I
don't know
liked
if we can give too much away.
the conversation they have that was just sort of very on the nose. That
Oh yeah.
I always hate that scene and everything, and they were just like, "This doesn't work." I liked that.
Yeah. No, I
Oh,
thought that was
fun.
great. Like I said, there were some moments that actually surprised me. We had just been talking about Bonsai and I about how sometimes villains should just be villains, and I
Right.
felt like this did that well.
Yeah,
Like, yeah, they added like at least an explanation of what led the villain to where he was, but it wasn't a here you need to identify. I think everybody could sit in the same room and be like, nah, that motherfucker's wrong.
Yeah, they almost did a sympathetic backstory for him. Like his dad was a dick, his brother was a dick.
Yeah, but that doesn't make
But
a
he
super
was-
villain.
Right, he was like also just a dick.
Yeah.
He
So-
he wasn't any better.
So together
Yeah, no,
they were a bundle of
didn't
dicks.
turn out any better, sure, but like I can also understand where his drive comes from, and like seeing this thing and then like
Oh,
being away from it, and then
I'm not trying to take that
Like,
away.
not having
More
a
what we're
memory wipe
saying.
for it, like that's fucked. You know what I mean? That is a fucked situation.
Right. More what we're saying is just it's not the traditional like what they did to Electro or
Yeah.
it's not the sympathetic villain where you're like, oh, but is he really wrong?
Yeah, no,
No, this guy's wrong.
yeah,
He's doing a bad.
yeah,
Yeah.
It's
Um,
known he's doing a bad.
I will say that I thought it was weird how they characterized the best friend character in this.
Freddy.
Because Freddy. Because at times it really felt like yeah, you're doing it wrong. Like you are really the way that you're going about this, like you're being part of the problem, not part of the solution. But then they spun it as, oh no, it's just because, you know, he's had a tough life. And I'm like, well, but you could say that about the villain as well. And
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like they got
Though-
too sympathetic.
In my opinion, that kind of works towards it though. It's a lot of people in not the same but similar enough situations all making different choices.
Sure, but the difference is like there wasn't any personal strength shown. I would say on his part because he had a best friend that was a superhero kind of thing. You know, like
Yeah.
if the other dude had a best friend that was a superhero, maybe he hadn't turned out that bad.
Maybe think of him more like a shitty Jiminy Cricket.
Yeah, I
It's
see
like
that.
Jiminy Cricket year one.
Yeah, he was like he would be the shittiest Mr. Miyagi.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm being coy because I don't want to give too much away. You should check it out. I think it's fun. But Bonsai, I'm sure you have more to say. Like, go.
Not actually a whole lot. The pacing was a lot more on point than a lot of the DC stuff had been. I wish DC would find a different company to do their CG or step it up or something. Like, I'm just still seeing a lot of really cartoony feeling spots in their CG work just across the board. Everything they've done, I've always seen spots where there's no CG where you're like, fuck, that looks like a practical effect. But a lot of times it's masked better. Do you get what I mean? Like
Yeah.
you buy something as a little more real than just straight up going, that's CG. And so far for me, DC has so many moments that drag me out of it when I go, oh no, that's really, really CG. And this had it, like, especially the end fight scene, focusing on Shazam, who is bright red in a pretty dark movie and dark scene. It just, dude, I was really cartoony. And I had the same problem with the blood, the green blood from the aliens in Justice League.
Yeah.
It was the same thing. It looked like, oh, there's like PlayStation 2 blood.
See,
On
for a while,
Flash's
it
face.
was the end of the Matrix all over again. The third Matrix.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. It was just, it could have been You can do that better. I've seen it done better.
Yeah.
Believe in yourself and just get on doing that better. Pump the money in. It's worth that big epic shot at the end to skimp somewhere else. I like the training stuff. I like the villain. I actually really like the siblings. This is one of the few movies where I don't think any of the kid actors didn't bring it. And that's been happening more and more. Like,
Yeah.
It just did that. I feel like Stranger Things does that. We're getting this great crop of kid. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. This might be horrifying, but we're getting this really great crop of children actors in. But thank fuck, because kids used to be so bad in movies.
Yeah.
If there was a kid in movies, I'd be like, okay, just don't listen to this part of the movie and judge it on everything that isn't this part.
Even the youngest actress there, I thought
She
I think
kind of
she did
stole the
great.
show for me.
Yeah.
She did great. Doris, I think her name was Doris.
Yeah, I think the character's name was Doris. But yeah, no, she did great. I agree. I was very surprised because I was like, oh, they threw in a cute kid. She's gonna
Yeah, I
do
thought it was
some...
going to be like cutesy and annoying.
Yeah, I thought it was gonna be fucking like Michelle and of the
Full House.
Full House bullshit where you got it, dude. Yeah, like that obnoxious shit. I'm like, I don't need catchphrases, but you know what? Some of her reactions, like the moment where she just goes, "Oh, you guys found out on your own."
Yeah, I didn't do anything. I'm a good sister.
Actually,
Yeah.
one of my favorite is it's a really subtle, like blink and you'll miss it moment. But when the monsters are grabbing her and like dragging them back, she slaps at one of its hands and it lets go. I was like, either somebody told her to do that or that kid is going to great places in her future, because it was just such a great little detail. No, she did awesome.
Yeah. So honestly, I've got mostly good things to say about this. Again, it was a kids movie. Like, there's no getting away with it. The themes that they tackled and how they tackled them was very very PG and very like not dark and gritty, which is where DC had been going.
And they needed to stop. And I'm so like, between Aquaman and this, it seems like they're finally like, hey, maybe everything doesn't need to be bleak and depressing.
Yeah.
Oh, were comic books fun at one point? Fuck, we didn't know.
And look, I know a lot of people are going to hate me for saying this, but I enjoyed this movie a lot more than I did Captain Marvel. I just did.
Yeah, I mean,
I never saw the original Captain Marvel.
No, he means the Captain
yeah.
came out.
I had fun at this movie, right? Where like most of it, I was just like, okay, yeah, this is something that isn't just boring. Like they broke up the monotony very well, and they did it with like the training sequences and just him being a kid in a big guy's body.
Right.
I felt that pacing was better, and I did enjoy it a lot more than I did Captain Marvel.
I just think that I am starting to get burnt out on superhero movies. Like, my attention is much more going towards like what sci-fi and like horror that I can grab from this, because there's always a superhero genre coming. And it's a good thing for a lot of people. I'm not saying it's not a bad thing.
So actually,
I'll probably enjoy a lot of different hero movies as they come out, as long as they're like more comedic or rated R, or like comedic and stuff like Deadpool and shit like that. Like that kind of comedy and that kind of like superhero, I'll always be more kind of drawn to than most other superhero movies. But I feel like even with this one, like even though I enjoyed it, I was like, it's another goddamn superhero movie. Like, I'm sitting
and I
in
actually
this
want to bring
theater
something up.
watching another goddamn superhero movie. I was just doing this like 2 weeks ago.
No, that's fair. But
you're gonna do it in 2 more weeks for Endgame.
I noticed something that, and it's something that I'm going to talk about a little bit later as well, in the sense of a show that I watched. But I noticed there's a resurgence in supernatural shows. You're getting a lot more now that like places like Netflix and even Hulu have opened up the floodgates. You're getting more of these Sabrinas. You're getting more of the like Charmed and stuff. It went through like a cycle, because you used to have Buffy and that whole era, and you had Friday the 13th and all that back then.
And maybe that means Justice League Dark will actually get fucking made.
I hope so.
If that gets popular, maybe Justice League can pivot, focus on Dark.
I think it has a lot to do with the fact that folks are getting a little burnt out on the superheroes, so they're bringing back some of that. What I'm hoping is that this will also spark some good sci-fi, because there's a lot of really good sci-fi stories out there that I think they can make great movies about.
Yeah.
Like there's a book series that I would be great It's called the Frontlines series, and I really wish they would make it, because in this one, humanity doesn't just become a badass and overcome everything. They get their asses handed to them for like the first 4 books. It's great. And it's great sci-fi. It's pretty interesting. So I'm hoping this sparks a whole lot more.
See, I kind of want more like cyberpunk dystopian kind of like sci-fi. I
feel like the apocalypse is kind of done.
Yeah,
they've been doing, unfortunately, because the zombie craze happened and then the apocalypse craze happened. I'm kind of getting over the goddamn apocalypse.
Well, I don't want the apocalypse thing. Like, I just want like
more like Blade Runner.
Yeah, like Blade Runner and like Shadowrun kind of like stuff, like set in this kind of like almost bleak future kind of thing, or like more like Dread, like the Dread remake that came out, like that kind of dystopian.
How are you not done with Bleak at this point?
Well, to be fair, though, the Frontline series,
because I've been watching fucking comic book movies.
Yeah, but DC has been giving you bleak comic book movies.
I don't count DC.
That's not fair.
That's not
you can't just be like, well, I don't count this whole one that proves me wrong.
No. The last one I watched before Shazam was Batman versus Superman, which pretty much boiled down to 2 people going, "Our mother's name is Martha. We have to be friends now."
Yeah, but no, to be fair though, it doesn't boil down to that.
Nope. Goodbye. I never watched Justice League. I didn't watch fucking Aquaman. I barely came back for Shazam in DC that I had lost faith so much in DC and went strictly to Marvel. Like, because at least their shit was holding up. At least it held up and was interesting at the time. Now I just like I'm getting into this burnt of like superheroes. I don't mind Bleak. I just want
I think you need something to draw
different than like.
This is where you need to draw a bigger distinction. Sure, the superhero genre is saturated, but you have to look at what kind of story something is trying to tell. Marvel is telling social commentary stories, and they have been for a while. It's not a new thing with Captain Marvel. Go back and watch some of the Iron Mans, the Captain Americas, even some of the Thors. Look at what's happening in them. They are telling social commentary pieces. DC is still just trying to tell stories. And that's why I can't really compare Shazam and Captain Marvel even. Sure, they came out the same weekend, but they're not batting at the same thing. They're not going for just superhero action bullshit. I just rewatched Batman Forever. My wife had never finished it, so we rewatched Batman Forever. That was a movie trying to be an action movie. That could have been a Mission Impossible. That could have been a Fast and Furious. That could have been fucking any of them. At least these movies now, I'm not discounting Marvel for telling social commentary, but those movies are mostly doing social commentary on the world at large today through superheroes. And DC, at least with Wonder Woman, Aquaman, and Shazam, are starting to tell stories about life. The whole point of Shazam was about family and where you find it. It's almost the same story as fucking Lilo and Stitch, except it's superpowers instead of an alien. It's all about the family you make and taking care of your family. It's a different kind of story. It's a different take. Aquaman is about coming into who you are and stepping up to the plate of your life. Wonder Woman is a whole story. It's kind of female empowery, but in a different way that Captain Marvel is. It's a coming of age lady story that you don't get a whole lot.
That's all fine. I think it's just the superhero genre of like that these characters have like bullet immunity and like all these other powers.
The package doesn't matter. I mean, if you just want a soda, are you really the kind of person who goes in and goes, "Oh, can I have a Coke?" And they go, "We only have Pepsi." And you go, "Well, never mind. I'll have water."
Sometimes.
Really?
Sometimes.
All right, then I guess you're just too picky a person.
Very rare, but sometimes. Sometimes I don't want a Pepsi. It's a little bit different tasting, and that's not what I want.
For me, it's too much sugar. But I'll just
have about the same amount of sugar.
Have some other beverage. No, I mean
that's insane to me. It's about the story, the packaging it comes wrapped in. That's why there are good superhero movies and bad superhero movies. It's about the story you're trying to tell and how you tell it.
Yeah, my 2 cents on that is I just wish that the Marvel social commentary was less on the fucking nose. That's like
I mean, yeah, there are points to be earned for subtlety, but some folks aren't trying to be subtle.
Like, see, the thing is that we can't say that, oh God, this is the new thing and the new thing. No, movies have been giving a social commentary forever.
Yeah, Dawn of the no, Night of the Living Dead was a social commentary on consumerism.
Yeah, so like it's not about it, right? But when you're using allegory and when you're using framing devices or an artistic flair to present an idea, that's interesting. Otherwise, just give me a pamphlet with your bullshit ideas, and then we'll go from there. At least that's how I've been feeling about these movies. But again, I thought Shazam was pretty good. I'd watch it again. I haven't bought superhero movies in a while. I think I might actually buy this one. It was good. If I were to give it a rating, I'd probably give it. You know what? I probably an 8.5 charged phones out of 10.
Did you guys watch the post-credit scenes?
Yes.
I saw there was one. Is there another one?
There's 2.
There's 2.
The second one's a total throwaway, though. It does not matter.
Oh, no, I only saw the yeah.
Do you guys know what that worm is?
I have an idea, but I don't remember his name.
No, I don't know who the worm is.
So this, I'm just gonna fucking spoil it because this will play 2 weeks after this movie comes out. So
That's fine.
Spoiler for the post-credit scene. The caterpillar is a character called Mr. Mind. He's a space caterpillar who is like smarter than everybody of his species, and he can spin thread that is unbreakable in the blink of an eye and wraps him in a cocoon. Has like minor telepathic ability to like take over people's minds.
Oh, I thought he was from another dimension.
From what I remember, he's from space, but there's so many iterations of DC characters. He was probably from another dimension at one point or another.
So, what was the other post scene?
It's Shazam trying to talk to fish, and then talking about how dumb it is talking to fish.
Ah, that sounds pretty funny, actually.
I really like the credit scenes.
Actually, kind of a waste. I actually didn't like the second one.
You didn't like the credit scene? Like the little animation they did for the
no,
credits?
I'm talking about the second post credit. I didn't.
Oh,
the fish
yeah.
thing, I didn't really like it. It felt like a waste of time.
Is what it is. But yeah, so 8.5 charged phones out of 10. What about you, Bonza?
7.5.
Okay. Klops?
I'll put it like 7.5, 8.
Wow, we're all right around there, within a point of each other. This is rare.
Yeah.
We should move on to this next topic before something explodes.
The universe, it's caving in. Ah!
All right, so going on what we just talked about, there being more supernatural kind of shows and whatnot. So I watched something new. By new, I mean it's new to me. It's been on Netflix, I think, for a little bit. Have you guys heard of this show called The Order?
1866.
Nope. Actually, let me tell you why you're wrong there, Bondi.
I saw the trailer for The Order, and then I saw that in the trailer it had this really cheesy kind of like werewolf story, and I was like, nope. Goodbye.
Okay, best part of that, so far I'm at least halfway through the first season, I would say, and there isn't a vampire yet, so we're doing pretty good so far.
Well, that's fine. I was still like, this does not look like the target audience for me.
So I will say that I'm probably not the target audience either. I think anybody that loves the WB shows is the target audience for this.
Yeah, that's exactly what.
Honestly, here's the interesting part is the best way I can describe it is a combo between a WB, teeny show and Sabrina, which I know a lot of folks consider to also be WB, but. No, Sabrina gets kind of dark, and I haven't seen the rest of the first season. I'm holding off on that.
To be fair, Sabrina's literally CW on Netflix.
No, I know. But it's not the same. I don't think it's the same thematically. That's what I mean.
Okay.
Also, the reason you're wrong is The Order should bring up a Heath Ledger movie that you think is shitty, but I like.
Oh, God, where it was basically just like a love story. And oh god, it was so bad.
It was good. I liked it.
No,
It's called The Order.
Oh,
so bad.
Yeah, it's good. It's got Heath Ledger. It's got actually a bunch of returning cast from A Knight's Tale.
Yeah.
I thought it was great. But so just face value, it is about a kid who for some reason really wants to get into the secret society called the Blue Rose. And apparently they're real magicians, right? So, he's a townie, and it's that old story of, rich kids are dicks and so on and so forth, but with a supernatural spin, and there's obvious werewolves involved. There is a lot of really pretty people thrown into this TV show, so it's a little hard to take it too seriously, but I don't hate it. I mean, it feels a lot like that other show I reviewed, like the Mortal Instruments, where, although I think the acting is better on this one than that one. The big reveal, and it's not that much of a reveal because they do it at the beginning, is the head of the order is the main character's dad, but the dad doesn't know. They haven't quite revealed why yet, but I thought it was pretty interesting. I don't know, if I'm going out of 10, I'd probably give this. It doesn't have any sparkly vampires, so that immediately at least 1 point. I'd probably do I don't know, 3 out of 5. Like werewolf bites.
Sounds like pretty average show.
My wife watched it. She who likes that kind of stuff, like CW, big thumbs up for her. And she was like, yeah, it was alright. It was filler TV. It was something she watched while I was back here recording this shit.
Yeah, pretty much. Like we were watching on the couch. We've been exhausted with the new dog, so we just put it on, watching it while doing other stuff. But yeah, so that's pretty cool. Let's okay. So there's 2 things that we should talk about. One is, because let's stay with the movie theme. Let's talk about the trailer that just came out for the Joker.
Oh boy, let's.
And I want Klops to go first because I know Bonsai has a lot of hate, and I have a medium opinion.
Honestly, I think it looks pretty okay. Like it doesn't look terrible by any means. I do like tragic stories with clowns, so I mean that is a plus side for me. I think that it will be a good kind of movie. My only thing is, like, I don't know if it really needs to be tied into the Joker name. I guess it could work. That also makes me a little more hesitant, just because it's DC and Jokerness, and I'm not sure if I really want to dive down that ring. But all in all, if it was to be like a standalone by itself, I think it looks really good. Like, it just has the Joker name tied to it, which is kind of whatever, you know.
Yeah. I thought it was okay. I get where they're going with it. This feels like what a superhero genre movie would do to try and get an Oscar. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
I guess, yeah.
From the preview, it really looks like they're going for that really, like, melodrama and stellar performances and really just emoting. My biggest reticence to watch this is kind of what you mentioned, where I feel like if they just remove the Joker name and call it This Sad Sad Clown, I think it would still be the same. I don't see why this has to be related to the Joker in DC.
Yeah. Matter of fact, it might even do better not being tied to the Joker name.
Exactly.
Yeah.
This is exactly we're all 100% on the same page. I don't understand.
Yeah.
This, it looks like not a joke, like not a DC movie that somebody was just, hey, I don't know if this is going to do very well. Do you want to just change a bunch of names to DC people names so we can go like, and make your weird art house clown movie in DC? And they're like, oh, fuck, that'll probably help. Or so, who is this for? Who sat around and went, you know what people are really after is an art house Joker film.
It sounds like something your brother would come up with.
Right. This seems like a theater kid wet dream.
Yeah.
Like, I don't I don't get it. And I'm not even saying it's going to be bad.
Yeah.
Nothing about the movie looks bad. I just don't. Nobody went. We're making this for the comic fans. You know, this isn't for me. I'm not going to see it. I'm just not going to see it. I don't hate it. I'm just not going to see it because why? What is this going to give me? This isn't an actual. It's like a hodgepodge of a couple of Joker backgrounds, probably leaning heavier towards one in particular, but they've already confirmed that the Joker doesn't have one background because there's 3 different Jokers. I get that they're not doing the combined movie thing, but what do you even do with this going forward? Like, say this does win an Oscar and this is an amazing film. What do you do with this? You can make a sequel. Like, what now? The sequel is just him being an evil murder clown, being hunted by Batman? How do you do that artsy?
I mean,
this falls apart the second he is the Joker, this doesn't work anymore.
The only way I could see them continuing is if they want to try and do one of these movies from the Joker's perspective as he tortures Batman, and where Batman's only a side character. But I don't think DC will do it because that means they would have to put one of their main characters in the backseat for a film.
Well, they'd have to pick a Batman because they don't have one of those. Notice that little stab that was in Shazam? He didn't have a face for a reason, and it's because that guy doesn't work there anymore.
Well, actually, they wouldn't really have to. They just put a random guy in a cowl, and all you see is him torturing the other dude, and the other dude like barely shows up. You see him in the shadows, you know?
I guess. Yeah, I just don't see it working. And again, maybe you're going for one movie. Not everything needs to be a franchise. That's cool. It's not anything I give a shit about. I don't care about an art house Joker film.
But I am just so happy it's not Cholo Joker, if I'm being honest.
I will give it that. I'm the aesthetic looks better. Even, like, I'm not a huge Joaquin Phoenix fan, but he's not the most guttural pile of shit I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Like, he can act. He just tends to take stuff and do takes on stuff that aren't.
You know, now that I see the direction that they're taking, I kind of really wish they would have gotten Dafoe for this.
I'd have bought that. That would have been really fun. Very Boondock Saints, I guess. I still probably wouldn't watch it. It's not Joaquin Phoenix's fault that I'm not interested.
Yeah, see, and it's one of the things, like, I don't like Oscar movies. They're not made for me. So I want to see it to review it and tell all you lovely people about it. But I don't know if I will. It's so outside my wheelhouse.
My dad might want to watch it, so I might go see it.
Well, then you can tell us all about it. All right. Okay, so the second thing we want to talk about, and it leads into the third thing. Okay, so the Borderlands announcement. Bonsai, take it away. I don't even want to talk about it. I can't even.
I know your opinion. It's a hot take. I want to hear Klops's opinion. But I'm going to be straight up. This shit makes me laugh so hard. I think it's fucking hysterical. Take that. I don't care. So Borderlands 3 announced their release date, announced that they were coming out for PlayStation 4, Xbox One, an Epic exclusive for 6 months. Klops, you look angry.
No, actually, I'm not. I really don't give a shit either way. I will wait the 6 months for it to come out on Steam. Honestly, that's just where I want it. And it's not because, they take 30% and Epic Launcher is a fucking piece of shit. Nah, honestly, all my other Borderlands are on Steam. I'm just going to wait for it to get on Steam so I don't have to worry about having a different place to launch it.
I don't break collections, so I will be buying it on PS4, which is why I didn't care. I have all the other ones on PlayStation. I also have them on PC, but I have everything else on PlayStation, and I'm just going to buy it on PlayStation.
Yeah.
I'm not supporting the Epic Store. I'm not going to take this out on Gearbox. They went with the people who gave them more money, and as somebody who's worked for software companies, yeah, you go with the one that you make more money on. It's a little bit of a gamble right now. I don't necessarily agree with it, but I understand it. I'm not mad about it. I'm just going to buy it on PS4. Fuck you, Epic.
And honestly, like, as much as people are giving it hate, it's only 6 months exclusive on the Epic Store before it goes to Steam, which is exactly what I was saying should be done with most games that are going to go to Epic over Steam right away anyway. if it was totally exclusive for Epic, I could see the outrage they're doing, right? Where they're going to basically Borderlands 2 and just review bombing it because, fuck you.
They've actually gone through and had to take all those down, but they did.
Yeah.
Do it.
Yeah. So I would be more outraged there, but like 6 months? Oh no, I don't get to play the game on release day.
I just found it weird that they decided to like delay the PC release for 6 months. It's really bizarre. No. So look, here's where I'm at. It's kind of a twofold thing. Like, yeah, I don't like Epic. I think they're anti-consumerism. They can go fuck themselves. But I'm actually kind of annoyed at Pitchford, and I'm annoyed at 2K. They said some things, a couple months back, even with 2K specifically, about how they were gonna go where the clients were, and a very pro-consumer kind of stance. And here you are, a couple months later, and they're like, nah, fuck that. Here's the money to be made. And I'm like, okay, you get to do that, and I get not to support you if you're gonna be kind of a douche nozzle. And also, like, here's the thing that irks me. Like, I'm not telling anybody not to go buy it or anything like that. I am not a raging maniac about this one in particular, because I like Borderlands. I've liked the story, and I think for the most part, up until now, they've done right by their fans. Pitchford is trying to pawn this off on 2K. He's trying to say, oh, you know what? This isn't a me thing. Stop bugging me. And then he continues to post things on Twitter trying to justify this decision. And I'm like, dude, if you just made the call, or if you made more money for your company, I get it, but just fucking own it, man. Like,
it actually might have been a 2K decision, though. They are the publisher.
Sure, but if he as the CEO of the development company would have said, no, we're not gonna do that.
No, 2K wouldn't give a shit.
Yeah, publishers will try that.
That's not how that works. There's
a certain latitude that you have. Yes, the company can say, like, yeah, we're contracted to publish the game. They go, okay, well, it won't be this game then, or whatever, dude. But see, my point is, like, I'm not even mad about the decision that they took anymore. I'm like, just own it. Just own it. Be like, hey, this is this. Don't try to sugarcoat that shit. Like it's not candy you're giving me. It's a fucking gum wrapper of shit. Just let's just fucking call a spade a spade. And what
Pitchford's been called on shit in the past. We all know he's a piece of fuck.
Yeah, but, no, exactly. It's just that he's trying to pretend like he doesn't. I actually just read the CAD comics where they were giving them shit twice. Like, they're like, oh man, nobody gives a shit about our vendors. We only have 15 minutes worth of content. Let me do a magic trick for the PAX presentation. My thing is, I'm on the fence. I really want to play Borderlands, but I kind of disagree with what they're doing. I was all in. I was ready to go for the remasters. I was all gonna go for the 4K stuff and just go through that whole thing all over again. And now I'm just like, all right. So I'm definitely not gonna get it on Epic. I'm not sure if I'm gonna get it on Steam when it comes out at this point. Like, I don't need Borderlands. I like it. I really do. I've had a shit ton of fun. But I'm just not gonna continue to give them money if they're gonna just continue fucking their customers. And I get to make that call, just like they get to make the call to make a butt ton of money on the Epic Store. So yeah.
That's fair. I like Gearbox. I like Borderlands. I like PlayStation.
Yeah,
that's where my money's going.
So I mean, yeah, you're allowed to vote with your dollar. That's why I tell everybody, I'm like, if you don't like it, just don't buy it.
Yeah,
like that. That's pure and simple. I probably will pick it up for Steam, because I like Borderlands. It's the one looter shooter that I fucking will probably play. And I have friends that will probably join me in it, and they'll probably wait the 6 months as well. I might be eating those words, though, if fucking one of my friends buys me the goddamn game on the Epic Store, and I'm like, you son of a bitch, I was waiting. Like, yeah, but now we gotta play it. And I'm like, okay, I guess we gotta play it now.
Actually, I am 100%.
My decision?
People buy it for me on the Epic Store? No,
I'll play a game if they're gonna fucking buy it for me.
I'm not touching the Epic Store. I'm sorry. I'm just not going to. I'm not in.
I thought you played Division 2. Wasn't that an Epic Store exclusive?
It was Ubisoft.
Yep.
And honestly, I'd rather go with Ubisoft at that point than Epic Store. But
Because I have other games on Ubisoft already.
yeah,
So
yeah,
like,
pretty much the same thing.
yeah, and nothing that Epic has done so far with either their exclusives or their own games has drawn me to them. So I'm just not in. Not judging you if you want to do it, but I'm just not in.
Yeah, I was saying I'm not going to buy it from them. I'm just saying that I might be eating those words because if somebody buys it for me, then I'll play
Yeah.
it with them.
All
But
right.
I plan to get it on Steam, and I'm not going to be too salty about it. And if I really want to wait longer than that, it'll come up on Humble Bundle or on G2A, and I'll fucking score it there.
Yeah, and actually,
I'll go fucking gray market.
so I'm
Real
this is
talk.
this is where I'm at. Like, I refuse to pirate at this point because I'm a grown ass man, but I really don't want the money to go to the people that made shitty decisions. So, gray market's looking great, and so is the resale market.
You know what's funny is I was actually talking to a game developer not too long ago. I won't mention their name, but
Jeff.
they were
Steve.
talking about how they would rather somebody pirate their game than buy it on the gray market. Like, they're totally okay with piracy. To them, piracy is just a form of thievery, and thievery is just a natural thing of capitalism, because capitalism makes a lot of poor people. So thievery is the way to balance it out. So they would much rather somebody pirate the game that they make.
So it was
They
CD
brought on
Projekt
the-
Red.
No, I won't say
I'm just-
any of that.
I don't
I-
I don't know how that makes any sense, like, logically speaking. Like, fair enough, but okay. Also, the problem with pirating games is it ends up like you always get stupid shit on your computer because the people who pirate are also
Oh, yeah.
shitty, and they're gonna include a bunch of bullshit in their fucking cracks and stuff. So there was a point in time where I didn't really care because I didn't spend that much money on my computers. Now I do. Now I care.
No, I get you. I'd much rather go with the gray market just because it's easier, more convenient to me.
Yeah, and it's official. Da, I got the game from home country.
Yay!
But yeah, so okay, sad news aside, fuck Gearbox and Pitchford. Anyways, so you played the Borderlands remastered, Bonsai. How is it?
It's great. It looks so much better. There's a couple of like just little fixes to the game that make things easier. There's like a fill ammo button now that just buys all the, because you end up filling up on all the ammos you don't use. So there's just like a buy all ammo that I need for all the guns that I need and leave it at that button, which is great.
Yeah.
There's like auto pickup on a couple of things, so you're not just mashing the pickup loot button. Mini maps on screen. Graphics are touched up. You know what I am realizing, though? Playing through Borderlands 1 makes me realize how much better Borderlands 2 and pre-sequel are.
Yeah.
Like, not that it's bad, but like 1 isn't even that like wild and crazy. It's got moments of it, but it's not too over the top. 2 is where it gets over the top.
Yeah, and you can do speed runs through 1 much faster than you can do through 2.
Yeah, I'm taking my time, though. I'm already level 32, and I'm doing all of the side missions.
Yeah. Let me know what happens at the end of the last boss. Apparently, they changed something.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. They were saying it during their PAX panel that they changed something.
It's got dildo fingers now.
Hey, you know
I
what?
choose to believe that.
This is my reality.
Yeah. This is my life now. But okay, so it's better enough to warrant the $15?
It's 30.
Oh,
At least when I picked it up, it was 30.
well, still.
But I
go
mean,
on.
it's the core game and all 4 DLCs touched up and remastered
Oh.
with some actual like fixes to things.
And you said you owned all of them on PC?
I do.
So you should recheck because you might have gotten that copy for free on PC as well.
Well, no, that's only if you have the Handsome collection.
Yeah. Which I am actually going to buy a copy of the Handsome collection now because I
And
would like the
Borderlands 1 is not part of the Handsome collection.
Yeah.
No, it was if you had Borderlands 1, you got the remaster for Borderlands 1 free, I thought.
I thought it was only for the Handsome collection. But
maybe.
I'll log
I
into
could be
Shift.
wrong. Yep.
But yeah, I was probably gonna end up buying Handsome collection, and actually, I don't remember what copy I have on Steam. I might have the Handsome collection on Steam, but I'm gonna get it for PS4 anyways. That is the nice thing, though, is the re-release for Steam isn't really a re-release. They're just giving out a free 4K update.
Yeah.
And I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, that's kind of dope.
Yeah,
And
it's been fun.
Make up for fucking you in the ass anyway.
Wow. 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 No, I don't have the handsome.
I'm mad. I'm mad.
Oh, wait, maybe, I don't know. I don't know what the fuck I have, but it's cool. No, I guess I don't, because there's a bunch of character packs I don't have. Either way, though. I'll probably end up buying the Handsome collection from my PlayStation and playing through that. I got a coworker. He was not into Borderlands before. And he texted me over the weekend. He's like, so I downloaded Borderlands. I can't stop playing this. How did I not play this before?
It's a good thing. It's always been a good thing. I like the series. It was actually one of the standout series of post like of the original Xbox, you know?
Yeah.
So
yeah, I played it on PS3. I never got to do the DLC, which is something that interests me on Borderlands when I was doing the DLC.
Oh man, the DLC is great. I think the only one I didn't do is the Robot Revolution one, but Zombie Island is great. The Battle Dome is great. Fucking the what is it? Fort Knox or whatever.
Was that from 1 or 2?
That's from number 1. Dr. Commander Knox, something Knox. Either way, there's a fucking great glitch in the floor where you can drop through and
remember
raid the whole vault.
Did they fix that yet?
I don't know. I haven't fucking made it there. General Knox, that's what it is.
I do remember that you could just go loot it ahead of time.
Yeah, so normally, Clubs, when you make it to this vault, you only have 2 minutes to like get in, loot everything, and get out. But there's so many, like, you can't loot a quarter of it in 2 minutes, and that's by design. But the devs must have left a glitch on the floor so that they could get in and test everything in there without triggering the time limit. And then they didn't take it back out. So people found this little spot in the floor where you could run up, drop through the floor. So there's no way to get out, but all you have to do is either blow yourself up with a grenade or have a friend kill you, and then you teleport on that friend, and you get all your loot and get out.
Huh.
It's so crazy. Oh, I got so many pearlescents.
Oh, yeah. Unfortunately, by the time I made it to that glitch, none of the pearlescents were worth anything. Well, because we used to spam, is it
Cromrag?
Cromrag? That motherfucker was hard to kill, but we used to spam him, and that's where I got all my really top-tier weapons.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it.
It's been fun, man. I'm into it.
Fair enough. All right. So one last video game before we go, because it's been 3 weeks, and Klops has been itching to talk about it.
He's so itchy.
Oh, yeah.
So itchy.
Total War Attila.
Yeah, boy.
I'll start with the fact that, like, my first Total War game is not Total War Attila. My first Total War game was Total War Warhammer, and I hated it. Fucking hated it. And I think that was more of my experience more than the gameplay itself. And so, like, it was kind of a gamble going on this, but I bought it on Steam sale for like $11 and couldn't say no. And there was Vikings in it, so I really couldn't say no then. I was like, I have to do this. And actually, I really enjoy it. I'm still playing the same game with Fallen. We're on turn 150 right now. We've been playing it for the last 3 weeks.
Jeez,
on and off. Not continuously. Like, there's times where we play like Siege or Apex or something, right? You know? But we've been playing for the last 3 weeks, and we're still not anywhere near the co-op conditions of winning the game, which is like you have to field like 20 armies between the two factions. You have to control like 80 territories, or either through force or subjugation of those places. You have to get through like 60 of the technology tree between the two of you, which isn't that hard. We're already at like 50 something. And like a bunch of other shit. Like you have to control like 6 regions, and like they're all the major regions. And I have to say, I really, really like this Total War. And I like it because
I was actually really kind of like, I really hate this game. I've been playing it for 3 weeks and I can't stop, and I hate every second of this.
No, it is a slow game, and it is probably a little bit slower than Total War Warhammer. But I think the real key difference is one, the historical factor of it. I really like history, and this plays into that.
Wait. Warhammer totally happened. That's like Tolkien. It's way in the past.
Yeah, so far in the past is the future.
Yeah.
And so, like, the historical factor plays into it because you play during, the Hun dynasty and, like, Attila the Hun coming through and wrecking all of Europe, which we've killed, by the way. We've destroyed the Hun Empire. They're dead. And terrain plays a factor. So, for those of you that aren't familiar with the Total War series, it's not just a big board game where you go around placing pieces or anything. You do have that kind of thing where you march in with an army that's usually about 20 units, and each unit has about 50 dudes in it, maybe more. But when you attack another person or another settlement or something like that, you can take direct command of all your units on the battlefield and use terrain to your advantage and devastate an army or weather against a giant army that's fighting you. There's been times where a force that should not have won has won because I was able to choke point the enemy and just weigh them out. And they just had to keep attacking me, and they couldn't push past. As long as I didn't push too far in and like spread my forces out, I was able to hold that point. So it has this really grand strategy kind of to it.
Is this an RTS?
It is an RTS. It's an RTS kind of board game. It's a grand strategy RTS is what it's called. Not to be confused with like skirmish-based RTSs or kind of like sci-fi RTSs or like StarCraft. StarCraft is like you just build units and send them out there. And like skirmish-based is more like Mutant Year Zero or XCOM or what is it, Company of Heroes.
So that's
like
turn-based, right?
Yeah, those are turn-based skirmishes. Well, I guess those are turn-based strategy, like skirmish-based RTSs, and then like Company Heroes is like more skirmish-based, where it's like real-time happening all the time. And this happens only in the battlefield, so it's real-time strategy, but it's grand strategy. And I can't recommend it enough. It does have its drawbacks because it is an older Total War. There is a connection issue sometimes, and they have this desync issue, which is really stupid. This thing was fixed 5 years ago at different other games. The problem is that when you're taking your turns and when all the turns are going, because you can do your 2 turns, right? Your 2 co-op turns, and then all the NPCs can go and they just kind of go through order. It's not actually super synchronized up between the 2 people that are playing, so that can lead to desync issues. But if you have the players take their turn at the same time and then everything activates and does everything, it doesn't have that fucking issue. So why this genre of game hasn't moved to this, which has been fixed for the last like 5 to 8 years, I don't understand. So whatever. And that's led to some frustrating moments because sometimes it will desync in the middle of a round, and if you didn't save, you have to go back a couple saves in order to redo these like 3 turns, which are not short turns because you have a lot of stuff to do in these turns. Because outside of the combat, you get a bunch of other shit to do: political alliances, diplomacy, upkeep of your fucking kind of civilization, putting people into position in your civilization so that things run more smoothly.
Oh no, diplomacy! They lost you.
like honestly, like I had no idea what any of this was. Like going into it, I was just like, okay, I'm doing this. My towns. Why are my towns unhappy? Why are people shitting everywhere? Why is there squalor? What is happening with all these things? So it can be a lot of information going in, and there's a lot to do in these turns, especially when you start going from your like one little territory that you start off with to just fucking continents of things that you have to run. Because it's a civilization simulation kind of game.
Yeah, I was about to say, it sounds a little bit like Civ.
Kind of. It has those elements. You do have to like make sure that the proper buildings are in like your regions and stuff, and they're doing different things like sanitation, bringing food in so your people aren't starving. Although sometimes your people starving can actually be a benefit. I have my High King sitting in my territory up north, which is the starting territories, and I kind of purposely keep them starving now at this point because they spawn a rebellion. My High King takes care of the rebellion, gains influence, and then I use that influence to build the rest of my empire as I'm building the rest of everything else. So it's kind of this step, like kind of like circle loop that goes around of like, oh, my people are unhappy, unhappy, unhappy. Rebellion, take care of the rebellion, gain influence, make shit better. And like, sadly, these people are just destined to suffer throughout this whole game.
You sound like a slumlord.
I kind of am at this point. I have the most northern part of the map to myself. I also conquered England about 500 years before my ancestors did. Thank you very much.
For the record, Genghis Khan Slumlord is a game I would play the shit out of.
I'm sure that there will be a total war for you then eventually.
It's just Genghis Khan, a white beater,
Yeah.
sitting around yelling at people about rent and not doing maintenance on the air conditioner.
It'd be great. But if you like kind of grand strategy, if you like bigger board games that you're gonna like take a lot of time with, especially if you have somebody else that's into those as well and like a friend to play with, and you like doing the different factions and like historical things, I think this game is really for you. I never thought that I really like a Total War series. But this one so far is making me go, I kind of want the other ones now. Like, not the older ones. I want the newer ones, like Britannia and the new Three Kingdoms is coming up. Because I think fucking fighting in China during their Qing dynasty or whatever it is, fucking would be awesome with all their warfare that they had. Because they had cannons, they had flamethrowers, they had shit that we have now thousands of years before we did. And it was all just part of their, like, warfare naturally that they did because of how fucked they were as a country for a long time.
Were?
Yeah, we're. Because at least they're all one nation now, instead of being like 20 of them.
All right, so give it a rating so we can do FML. We're running out of time here.
Okay, all right, I'll give it a rating. I'll give it probably 4.5 fuck you Attilas out of 5.
Wow.
So did you straight up go after Attila just to show him, like, in the beginning?
No, actually, I had a lot of other issues that we were dealing with. For a long time, we had to stabilize out. And Aaron's playing as the Langobards, which is like this German tribe that was around that's no longer around anymore. And he ended up conquering most of the Saxon territory, but the Saxons fled. Then I went to them and kicked their ass over in England and sat for a bunch of turns while I was taking care of these other guys that I don't know how to pronounce their name. And we had a bunch of other combat happen, and we turned on our allies because they had land that we needed, and I wanted to be able to secure my region and make my people happy, which didn't actually make them happy. But I gained the land and territory, and then I went to go help him gain a territory that he wanted, and all the other fucking factions that we were friends with turned on us all. So we had to go basically raise all those settlements. So to the east of all of our empires, just barren wastelands between us and the Huns that came through and did the same thing. The Huns were cool for me for a very long time, but they fought Aaron, and then eventually Attila showed up. He killed Attila, but then the game's like, no, you gotta do it twice now, and like put him back into the game the second time. We're like, you son of a bitch. They showed back up. There's 3 armies. I had 3 armies. I went, fuck it, and turned on them and declared war on the Huns. Got my ass kicked because they had tier 4 troops, and then proceeded to rebuild as they came in. And then Aaron killed Attila the second time, and we wiped out all 8 of the Hun armies pretty much simultaneously. In a very sweet victory against them, and now they're no longer a thing. It's only taken about 150 turns.
Oh, is that all?
Huh.
Yeah, and we still have the rest of the world to conquer. We still have Constantinople. We still have Africa. We still have like Saudi Arabia and a bunch of other places.
Pretty sure it's Istanbul.
No, it's Constantinople right now.
Istanbul was Constantinople. Now it's
I know.
Istanbul, not Constantinople.
Yeah, but in that...
Yeah, now, but
yeah,
then
no,
it was
he knows what we're saying. He's being a dick.
If you've got a date in Constantinople, she'll be waiting in Istanbul.
I think you forget that I can mute you, like, at will. All right.
I do the master recording. No, you fucking can't.
Yeah, I can. From the live recording.
From the live? Nobody gives a shit about the live.
You know what? TK gives a shit about the live.
Not if I'm talking, he doesn't.
All right. You mean if you're not talking? I mean, if you're going to be a dick, just do it properly. All right. Let's talk about FML because it sucked.
What I meant, but okay.
Dude, I didn't even see my fucking scorecard.
We did okay. It was kind of interesting. I did not win. But I'm super behind anyway, so I'm not worried about it, really. So this is the metagame one, and it looks like you were about only 900,000 behind?
Who, me?
Yeah, which is not not bad. Well, for the players here, I was about 6 million difference for this one. I like that we all kind of spread it around, you know?
Yeah, it wasn't a lot of the same stuff this time.
Yeah, which is good, but I made bad bets. I thought Shazam was going to be good, but it was super expensive, so I don't know if it was going to be worth it. I was wrong. It was totally going to be worth it. But yeah, so not too bad. All in all, man. And actually, we're at that time.
Wait, what about the other one? You only show the one.
I don't like the other one. No.
I do.
So this one, the gap was a little bit different on this one. You actually pulled ahead. Oh no, actually.
Yeah, Klops beat me.
Klops beat you on this one.
See, Klops, he's trying to bury your win. Don't let him do that shit to you.
I won?
You did.
Nice.
By 2 million.
Yeah.
Oh.
1.7, but it's 2 million.
Anyways.
I remember when I played.
Yeah, that's great. Fuck you. No, I'm actually not bitter. The chat does want us to know that the Chinese had repeating crossbows.
They did. They also had like cloud bridges, which were amazing.
The fuck is a cloud bridge? Now you just making shit up.
No, it's basically a giant siege tower, because as time went on, they built higher and higher into like their mountain terrain and stuff. So they built sky bridges, which is just a giant siege tower that they would just fucking wheel out with like tons of thousands of manpower, and they would just open and everybody would just come piling out over the walls.
So
they also had trebuchets that were amazing. They were nothing like our trebuchets. They were called whirlwind trebuchets,
and they were called trebuchets. But yeah,
they were built with 3 fucking bamboo sticks, and 10 guys would pull on one end and hurl a fucking large ass boulder from the other end.
Okay.
Unlike European trebuchets or catapults, which were like giant stationary things that had 2
goddamn history lesson.
Yeah, I think that's what it's turning into.
About history.
No, we actually don't.
Welcome to the history podcast run by Klops.
Eduardo, end this podcast now.
Klops, he should run his own history podcast, that piece of shit. What? All right. You don't get a final word. None of y'all get a final word. Thanks for checking us out. Check us out Tuesday nights, except for this upcoming Tuesday, which you won't know because this will be 2 weeks late. So most Tuesdays on YouTube, 7 to 9, we play World of Darkness live action RP there. And we are live for the 5D podcast Monday night, 7 to 9, or 7 to 8, here on the YouTube channel. On that note, bye.
See ya.
Quick.